Okay, so moving on. Let's say we're done with all this. What happens now? Well, once we've gotten all our format, we've got a general idea of what to do. By the way, you can start this, but you won't be able to finish it until you're done because your ISBN goes here.
Right.
There are going to be two ISBNs, and you have to pay for both. Because there's one of them that is print and the other one that is ebook, and they're not considered the same. It's the ISBN 13, and that's the last step. But I'm going to actually show you where to go for that right now because it's just.
And
it's
I'll
just
say
part of
that every version of the book you create, even if you do a translation, like you say you want to translate it into Spanish or something, you have to get another ISBN. And that kind of blew me away the first time, but it's true. Yeah.
So this here is Bowker, the monopoly that controls ISBNs. It's a racket, and I'm going to go on and say it makes me upset as a publisher. They're the only game anywhere for getting an ISBN. And it's funny because if you try to publish to somebody like Amazon's going to get it from Bowker. They're all going to get it from Bowker. This is a ProQuest publishing syndicate of some sort.
And it's little known, right? Nobody.
You must.
Yeah. Everybody else is an intermediary for Bowker.
Yes. It is the truest. Amazon. Look at this. The official ISBN agency for the United States. We're here to help you. Sure they are. Okay, but the thing about Bowker, especially if you are going to publish a lot of these, you have to buy ISBNs and barcodes separately, and one per. So if you want that barcode to show up, you'll need to discover more about it. You can tell by my attitude that I do not like this fact because you cannot do it any other way. And for publishers, when we look at this, you can go in, and I guess they've changed their layout, so everything is big now. It's rough, but basically you need to buy these in bulk. Please buy them in bulk. And I'm just trying to get you to see. Let me see if I can find where you buy them to show you why you need to buy them in bulk. ISBN US. I've never seen this new site. How about purchase ISBN? Okay, you know what? Let's go to myidentifiers.com because that's my identifiers. Where is it? Google.com. My identifiers. Here we go. Here they are. Registering copyright by ISBNs in bulk. Okay, watch this. Are you a large publisher? Oh God, wow, never mind. By ISBNs. Here's what I wanted to show you. 10 ISBNs will be $300. One ISBN will be $125.
Oh man, what a markup.
I know. And all it is a row in a data table. I'm telling you. If you thought I was exaggerating, look at this one. 1,000 ISBNs, $1,500. You see how one ISBN here is actually $1.50.
Right.
One ISBN here is truly 100 times more expensive.
That's insane.
You know?
I've never Okay, just get them in bulk.
Okay, yes. At once. Okay. And I recommend if you're really planning on staying in the game, buying the 575. Right. But if it's untested and you don't have enough clients right now, go with the 10. Do not buy one. It doesn't make sense, right? So in addition to this, you'll need barcodes. These guys, the JPEG that they print out for you and the PDF, or they release it in different ways. You can go down here and add these as well.
That's a separate charge.
Mm-hmm. Separate charge. So I talked to somebody once upon a time about a QR code. QR code. So maybe that's going to be something that you consider later on.
Yeah.
Do not fall for this though, because if you don't have the infrastructure, a web page that you're going to send people to, a reason to have that QR code be there, don't even bother with the QR code. It's not something that you're going to get the functionality for unless you're going to truly have an interactive thing. 10 ISBNs, one barcode, one ISBN, one barcode. Anyway, so we at some point got to our 20th book for publishing, and I had to actually break down and do this. The 100. It's a pretty decent deal for a smallish publisher, and unless you're really like kicking them out, this is not gonna be worth it. But please don't buy one. Just wow, Anyway, once you've signed up and you've joined Bowker, it's going to give you a bunch of ISBNs that you can choose from, and you're going to pick one for your ebook and one for your print book, and that's what's going to go here. So this is not going to be done until that point. After everything is formatted and all the fonts are there, then you take your second pass through and you read it. And on average, I find it's about a month. So let me stress this. We in an hour or so did some formatting, but to really read it, whoever you give it to, expect to take a month. And if you're not the one doing it, expect not to hear from them, because everybody's busy. And unless it is their job to take the month to read it, they're going to sit down and read a book that they're disinclined to. They would not have done anything like this, right? And now all of a sudden it's on their plate. So if you ask your friends or you ask your collaborators to read this book, either tell them you really need it within a month, or prepare to do it yourself, because this part of the process, having second and third and fourth and fifth eyes, it's hard when you're a small shop getting the right eyes on it in the time that you want to publish it. So I'm just going to kind of warn you about that.
And I'll say all eyes are not created equal. I mean, some will read just for the enjoyment, if you give it to a buddy or something, and they'll be like, oh, it's a great book. But what you are looking for is critical feedback on, okay, what worked, what didn't work. And only like a trained eye, like Ajani's, I'm not saying he's the only one. I'm just saying, like, he's published nearly 20 books. So he's read other people's work a lot. Same with me. Like, I read a lot and I've written my own books, and I know how to like read critically for content, for not just, editing and stuff. You can do that easily, but it's more like what works, what doesn't. That takes a more like dedicated reader and may take even more time. So you may have to outsource for that, or plan to like pay people, compensate, even if it's just a little bit, to, hey, really look at this in a critical way. Because
one thing I would say about outsourcing is that, especially if you're a small shop, you never have to pay $1,000 for anything.
Oh
ever.
My God, please don't pay thousands of dollars.
Don't do that. So if someone says, so one of my books, I had a former student, she did my book cover for $150. It's a really good cover and it was worth it. But in terms of the cost, the total cost for publishing a book, it truly should not go over $300. You're gonna pay $50 to set up the distribution with Ingram Spark, if that's what you do. And then you're gonna pay maybe $50 more for some other component of that. Copyright has a cost, but a lot of the times, look, I'm not gonna recommend this, but you can get away with an implied copyright. Right. And if people pirate your stuff, then you say it's copyright 2022. And they're like, well, I didn't find it in the copyright office, so therefore it's not copyrighted. No, it doesn't work that way.
No, yeah.
So if you say it's copyrighted, and You can't reproduce this in no part. It can be reproduced with the express written permission of the publisher. That's the kind of stuff that goes right here. Even if you never file with the Copyright Office and you don't pay those guys, it stands.
As long as bottom line is, if it looks legit, most people will respect it as legit, unless they really want to copyright it and then really steal it from you, which they can at the end of the day. But I mean, all of my books are, and I've looked up the law on this. Like, it's clear, like authors and publishers have an implied copyright for, what is it, like 70 years or something?
Yes.
For an original work.
Yeah.
Like, you have an implied copyright. You own all the content, assuming it's original in that work. So
yeah,
it's not,
because there are lots of people
to worry about, but
yeah, there are lots of people who made stuff and they just didn't copyright it, right? And so it's going to float out there. The bottom line is that you can take or leave the copyright process. Now, being an official organization, you really probably want to do that. Copyright.gov, but it's another one of those steps, and so you have to build it into your process. Okay, so we've got the print book, and let's say we've gone 2 rounds. First round was formatting, and I only glossed over it, but the truth of the matter is that you want to make sure stuff aligns, that fonts are right,
stuff is consistent, that's all, and it takes time.
It does, like stuff like this. I don't know what that is, and take that out.
That was just a lazy section marker.
Yeah, well, and I mean,
as I'm writing, right?
And when we're drafting it, it just doesn't start the way we want it. This is a 1/2 inch margin. Maybe we don't want 1/2 inch margins, and if we wanted to consistently go throughout and change that, we'd have to modify, go to format, go to paragraph, and maybe change that stuff around here. There are other ways to change it, but anyways, play with this, because it'll really kind of help you be quicker about this. Anyways, but once we're done with the print, the first read through ourselves, the third round is where, okay, I got it formatted, I looked at it, I'm now giving it to other eyes, but also I'm preparing to do ebook publishing, because print is not going to be your only thing, right? Especially if you want a whole bunch of people to just download it, to know that you're around. So now we have to think about ebook publishing. And what I do is go to Caliber here. So let's go to Caliber. Caliber is awesome. Like, this is really, really good program. Like, it's ridiculous. And it's just some guy who made it. It's like Caliber is the one-stop solution to all your ebook. It really is. And go and download this piece of software. It's very slow, but it's very, very powerful. And it'll give you the ability to kind of open the work inside of your program. So I'm not going to do that here because it's so painfully slow. But if you need help figuring out Caliber, then hit me up or something, and I can kind of walk you through it. But it is like going into a database for your ebook, and maybe they can show some features here. What's going to happen is that you're done with your you're done. Oh, you can just watch this as well. You're done with your Word doc, and you can export your Word doc with all that metadata that we talked about into here. And you'll choose convert ebook, you choose your cover and all of that. You have to design your cover, and that's a whole other thing. But you choose it, and then what you'll find is that it basically converts it into an HTML page. The ebook is an HTML page, and you're going to be editing tags and stuff like that. So any fancy stuff you do in here, like this is going to be a style, a CSS style in there. And this is going to be its own style. It's going to have like paragraph marks, and it's really pretty fancy. You go in there and you'll be editing this thing as if it's web. After that's done, you'll have Calibre can also be used to export an ebook file, and I forget what the extension is, but it knows it'll output
It's different.
the it's EPUB. I think it's EPUB.
EPUB.
And now that's if you just want to have generic ebooks. Used to be that Amazon didn't want you to do EPUB; they want you to do Kindle format. But that's another thing that you can export from here if you want to go straight to Amazon for publishing. Know that, just kind of to wrap all this in a bow here, when you're done with this, it's going to have to become PDF. Because that's how you're going to upload it to your distributor. The doc version gets pulled into Calibre so that you can make the ebook. The ebook is going to come out as a .epub. The doc version needs to come out as a PDF. Now, you'll need to embed the fonts, because when you send this to somebody, they may not have Georgia, but it was a critical part of your book's format. So you go here, file, and there are a couple of ways you can do it. You can either just save as a PDF, or you can export, right? You can come here, you can do this. Sometimes it screws with your data. So you're gonna have to choose like this. So let me see, create PDF, okay. And you can go in there and do all of your like options and change stuff here. So I don't know, let's go to options. PDF-A compliant is a pretty standard export. So you can go ahead and just, I don't know, make sure this is checked, but know that after it's all kind of like spit out. Oh, here's some other things that you can do. Oh no, that's MapNet Book Drive. Don't worry about it. Anyway, once it's there, it's going to be in PDF form, and then your distributor is going to be able to take it. Now, distributor, let's talk about them. I publish through Ingram Spark because, like I said, these are some of the books that we've worked on and published to different authors and stuff like that. But this is my Ingram Spark account. And so I come in, and you can look at your titles, and you can look at your orders and all that other stuff, print your sales. But when you set up an Ingram Spark account, basically that's where you end up loading all your descriptions of the book, like the metadata. So when Amazon looks at it, the short description is going to be there. Silent Soul. Here's the story of, yada, yada, yada. But then there's a longer description as well. There are 4 files that you need in order to upload things to Ingram Spark. You need your interior document, the PDF of this. You're going to need the EPUB. And you probably want to do these together, right? So when you add a title, it's going to give you the option of publishing both the print and the ebook at the same time. You could do it one at a time, but the only reason you would do it one at a time is because your ebook isn't prepared. And it just costs you more money. And it also, because you're going to have to set up twice separately. And also, look, don't be hasty. Get it all together at once.
Yeah, it's better to do it all at once.
Yeah. So anyway, once you set this up, you'll also need the covers as well. So interior, EPUB, cover, and the e-cover. Now, that's all I'm going to say for that, because again, it gets really elaborate and we're nowhere near even being ready to publish this. So we would just be wasting our time, and it's going to ask for credit cards and things like that. So this is not the phase that we're in. But know that Ingram Spark is a distributor, and Ingram Spark has a deal with Amazon. Amazon compelled that deal, and Apple did too. So when you first set up your Ingram Spark account, you're going to need to sign things that basically say Ingram Spark has the right to publish stuff, and Apple is going to have its own, and it's going to say we have the right to charge in our own way and pay in our own way. And Amazon is going to do the same thing. So people order our books through Amazon mainly. And that's because in the beginning, when I set this up, actually later when Amazon kind of had Ingram Spark over the barrel, Amazon's like, we're putting out these contracts and you're going to need to sign them. So that way, Ingram Spark can send your book to Amazon and Amazon can pay you. Most of our sales come from Amazon, though we don't touch Amazon. We go through Ingram Spark. That's important to know because, to be honest, this interface is a really, I would recommend if you're a small shop and you want to understand your contracts, start here. Because I'm telling you, when you start going directly to Kindle and directly to Amazon, they are not designed with you in mind. They are definitely designed with markups and ISBN stuff that is just out of your control. You won't know what Amazon is doing, and they won't tell you. So you can sell through Amazon by coming through Ingram Spark. I would recommend doing it here. And also, it takes care of a lot of the formatting and stuff. Now, that said, sometimes Amazon does not get the point. And they're going to say, and they almost import these at random. I've actually learned this from customer service. I'm not trying to slam Amazon. They're just not thinking about you, though. And when you deal with customer service on them, they're like, well, we import it when we want to, unless you contact us. And that's going to be a thing. So this, sorry. It's just true facts
and
about
I'll
the
tell
process.
you, Johnny, you're probably thinking of Tower of Babbling.
Yes.
Remember Tower of Babbling? So
and Singing for No Reason.
And yeah,
Andre's
so
book.
we had published this in, I think, April 2019. And for the longest time, people would ask me, is it on Amazon? Is it on Amazon? I would check. No, it's not there. And so that was when Ajani was going back and forth with the customer service to find out, hey, why aren't they pulling it from Ingram Spark? Because it was originally published through Ingram Spark. And they just hadn't pulled it months.
They just didn't want to.
I don't know. They didn't want to. So I think I forget if we ended up putting it on there. I can't remember if we ended up.
I don't remember what we did.
But I think in the end, I went in and just published it on Amazon, because you can do that. You can publish it on Ingram Spark and then you don't have to wait. And I recommend that we did this with Sirius and Limnic to make sure that on launch day, because you want, when it launches, everybody's eyes are on it. Everybody's anticipating. You don't want to wait for some random Amazon algorithm pull. What if it's not there? So I published it straight to Amazon and on Ingram Spark. And then I made sure, hey, it's definitely on Amazon, and then it's definitely on my website. And then wherever the hell else it is, that's on, if it's on Barnes and Nobles or some random bookshop online, because that's what's going to happen. That's what's great about Ingram Spark. It will push to a ton of other distributors, like online too, for your ebook, and in print too, if you want it to.
And if you're not selling, if you're selling outside of the United States, that's another thing. Like, we know Amazon is big, but Amazon and Apple, but once you get outside of the US, most of the book sales for the astrology series that I wrote is outside the US. It's they sell more in Canada and the Netherlands and Japan.
Right. So we can, so when you start talking about launch strategy, that's kind of where my expertise kind of takes over, and we can do more videos on that. Like if you want a launch plan or whatever, which I recommend you do, right? Because when people, I mean, we did it with Sirius and Limnic and that last year, and that worked out great. Like, I mean, not only for sales, but just for attention, right? Because when you blast out the gate strong, that's when people are most hot to buy. And especially if it's your first book, which this will be, you want it to be a big deal. You want it to be like, okay, this is an occasion. That's when you show up. That's where the book's available, because people are going to want to read it if they're interested. So they need to be able to get their hands on it. You want them to be able to get it. So we can talk about that later, but
and my thing is, I'm truly not trying to slam Amazon. Right. They're just not.
I mean,
that's just how they are, right? That's how they work. They don't have to care about your small shop. If you were a single publisher who just wanted to put your self-published book out there, it might be a thing to just go straight to Kindle, KDP, Amazon. You can. But if you're going to make a like a whole organization out of this,
process. Yeah.
I'm telling you, you want to know who your distributor is. You want to
Yeah,
understand that stuff.
know when it's going out, where it's going to, and yeah, Ingram Spark will definitely give you more fidelity on what's actually happening, where it is, and what's happening. Yeah.
Okay. So this is like the distribution component of it. And again, we don't. There's not a lot of stuff that we could do now.
Yeah, it's just not really.
For going through this, it's kind of self-explanatory, but at the same time, until this thing is in the point where I want to start uploading things and the EPUBs there and calibers there, that would have to be just a separate lesson, because it's going to be a lot of trouble for something that still has font issues, right? We're not even close. Yeah. So the last thing I kind of want to tell you, which is so important, is cover design. Okay. So for cover design, download the following program. Unless you have Adobe, if you have Adobe, GIMP.org. If you have Adobe Creative Suite or whatever, and you know how to work with Photoshop, then that's cool. This is free. You can just pull it. It's not the most friendly program, but it is a good, decent graphics program. And the most important thing that I would tell you is that Ingram Spark has a cover template generator. Highly recommend you download it and get it sent to your email. That cover template it's going to say, how big is your book and how do you want it formatted? And they're going to send you a PDF which says, here's the front cover on the right side. Here's the spine. Here's the back cover on the left side. And this is how thick you want that to be. There are bleed regions to where the book pages fold a little bit and it's off by like 2 millimeters or 3 millimeters or whatever. But there are also border regions saying, make sure you don't have anything important in this 1/4 inch space. And all of this is subject to margins and all this other stuff. And basically you want to download that template and then open it in GIMP and build your cover against it. Because when you don't, you know, the thing you might expect will happen. You're going to get a book, but you're going to get a book preview, I should say, where text is over here, it's cut off. The logo is sliding onto the back cover. You know, you had this guy's face on the cover, but it turns out that he got a haircut at the top because of the way bleed works, right? And also, the important thing about that cover design phase is that, for whatever reason, I believe that what you say on the back cover is important. It just, because I mean, we're busy thinking about what the front looks like, but the back has implications for what we see on Amazon, the short description, the tags, and the way you talk about this. Are we going to say Price of Freedom Foundation presents whatever? Don't do that. What we should say is Alfonso Abdal Amos was this, and this is the story of that. And, you know, you want to tailor it. But the thing is that those are decisions, those are like series-based decisions that you make, and it's on the back cover. Yeah. So anyway, you download a program like this in order to do that editing. At the same time, you go into Bowker to get your barcode. Put your barcode in the back corner. You, beneath the barcode or something like that, Price of Freedom Foundation, priceoffreedomfoundation.org, or something like that, right? If you have a logo, and you really should, it's going to sit on the spine, because I was talking to Keith about this when you're trying to build a series. You don't want every, there you go, right?
That's the SATA
exactly
logo.
the SATA logo. Yeah, that's like what I put. And actually, can you show the back? Did you show the back of it?
No,
I wasn't there.
This is the back.
Okay, this is the back, and then the bottom of it. Yeah, see, there you go, right? We've got some descriptive information. This is going to change. You can move some things around based on how you want to, you know, you reference books that are around you. But what I was telling Keith was that we want to honor every individual. And so we don't want all the books to look like a World Book series, same size, same format.
Mm-hmm.
We don't want to mar every person's cover with Price of Freedom Foundation propaganda. So the best place to put that stuff is on the spine, just a little logo, right? As far as authors are concerned, one thing that I recommended is that maybe you want to consider pseudonyms for multiple authors, right? Because you're going to publish 20 books in 5 years or something like that. And do you want, Keith Hayden or, AA author on 10 of them, 15 of them? Because now it starts to be it starts to look more author centric. And if I'm going online, I'm like, oh man, I can't choose. There's so many of these readers, these different people. And really, from what I get of the mission of Price of Freedom Foundation, you want the person you're honoring to be the center of it. You don't want Price of Freedom to jump in everybody's face. You don't want the author name to jump in everybody's face. So what you might do is consider, even if you have only one writer or two writers, changing the name or having no name and just saying it's published by Price of Freedom on the side. But again, personalization is something you're going to want to think about for how covers look and titling looks and all that other stuff. I lament that the publishing industry is just like other kinds of media industries, in that there are utilitarian decisions that we make, not so much to sell books, but just to get the idea respected and acknowledged. And like if you don't turn those knobs on purpose, then people won't see your book, they won't get the point, they'll misclassify it, and you really want to control all that. You have to control all that because it's just going to get out of your hands.
Right.
Anyways, so I think that's all I have on the actual publishing and distribution component. I know this was a lot, and we're recording so that we can have the transcript for it, and you can kind of jump around when we talked about certain things. But I think with these tools that are shared on the screen, GIMP for cover design, Caliber for ebook creation, Bowker for ISBNs and barcodes, Ingram Spark for distribution to everybody else, including Amazon. And if you find that you're just having too much trouble getting that Amazon Ingram Spark chain to work, you might consider just going with Amazon, but know that it's going to introduce another level in your publishing chain. I unfortunately am stuck because I started through another publisher called lulu.com. And then I went to Amazon, and then I went to Ingram Spark. And now all three of them are part of my book chain. And it's really inconvenient. There are things with royalties and 1099s and stuff like that. So make sure that you set up your account to have the sales come to you, and in the right way. And because you are a tax exempt organization, I assume, or are going to be, then again, that's going to be something that you're going to need to factor that in to your dealings with both Ingram Spark and Amazon and Apple, if people can download it.
Yeah.
You might consider, I mean, Keith and I have talked about this as well, an audio component to these strongly. I mean, podcast and audio books.
Yeah.
I mean, you may be able to monetize it a little bit more with an audio read-through version of it.
For sure.
And Keith will have more to say about the time investment of that, because that's like all things, somebody's gonna have to put in the effort, and it's just they have to have the room to put in that effort. So as much as we like doing audio stuff, if it's not like mutually beneficial for the person who's doing your audio to invest that energy, you're gonna have a hard time getting them. But that said, just off the top of my head, if I thought about ebooks versus print books versus audio, you almost certainly want to consider audio right around now.
Yeah, I'm telling you, he's not lying. I mean, I've seen the difference with audio. My book's not even finished yet. It's not even halfway done. And I've averaged over 600 listens in the last 3 months for my audio version for my novel. Now,
Yeah.
and I know that's way more than the number of people that have bought my book, let alone read my book. So it's
Yeah.
it's something that you
I
may want to
think
consider.
I think maybe this is a good time to kind of do the wrap up video so we can just talk about some
Sure.
gotchas and stuff.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay.